In today's video, you're going to learn how to perform the muscle up transition. Now, this is one of the hardest parts of the muscle up for a lot of folks, but I promise by the end of today's video, you're going to know exactly what to do. One of the most important factors for performing a ring muscle up is the false grip. If we don't have a proper grip on the rings, it's going to be really hard to transition above and below the rings. So what we want to do is make sure that we grab and wrap our thumb around the inside. And then from here, you're going to wrap your hands down and pull down. This action is going to put the weight into your forearm. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. And yes, you're going to have to build up to it. So again, you'll wrap your hands in, you pull down, then you'll lean back. You'll feel that tension come across your forearm. You'll actually start to develop calluses in that position. So pull down, sink back. And that's how you get into your starting false grip position. When you're working on the ring muscle up, a lot of folks will hang from the bottom, won't have their false grip, but now you know how to do a false grip, and then just try to use momentum to get themselves up and kip. I think kipping is a skill in and of itself that you can use with practice once you actually know how to perform a smooth, controlled transition for muscle up. What you want to think of is when you're performing a muscle up, you're putting a shirt on. When you put your shirt on, you don't flare your elbows, you don't throw your body all around. You want to be tight. Tighter is lighter, right? So if I pull down, pull the shirt on, and transition up. You know, in gymnastics, in and of itself, muscle ups aren't a thing. It's just how you get above the rings to perform other cool things. We want a smooth and controlled transition. So the first step is to learn a baby muscle up. So I like to set up with my rings about rib height so I can have some comfort. From here, you'll get into your false grip position, this false grip position. And then you'll squeeze your legs together and you'll let your weight come back. That's number one. Number two, extend the arms all the way back. So if I come from here, I'm setting myself up. I come into my false grip. I let my weight shift back. Take that weight. This might be all you have. Right? That just might be the starting point for you. Being able to hold your weight in that false grip position can be a challenge for a lot of individuals. But I really think it's important that we emphasize false grip, sink your weight back, rotate. From here, you'll perform a pull, turn the rings in. When we get to this top position, you're going to stop, rotate. One more time. When you get to this top position, keep that false grip, pull close to the body, rotate. If we're hiking our shoulders up, that means you need to lower the rings down a little bit more. So we'll come here, pull myself up with this baby muscle up, transition, pause. One more time. Back, pull yourself up, transition, pause. You'll press up, you'll turn out. Then slowly transition back, pause, transition forward, pause, transition back, pause. That transition is the most crucial part. And if we can pause and just practice going back and forth, it's a great way to build up like the mechanics. I actually recommend is first I would warm up by just getting used to being in that false grip position we talked about. Then I would just practice coming to the bottom of the dip and really focusing on keeping the chest tall, which I have an entire YouTube video about this for shoulder mobility, so you can check that out. And then I would practice coming back, leaning that weight back, pulling up, transition, let the transition come back, come down. That's the baby muscle up. Once you are comfortable performing the baby muscle up, and we've practiced that transition a few times, we're going to take it a step further. We're going to practice a negative ring muscle up. Our goal is to move as slow and controlled as possible. I'm going to show you two variations. So if I'm at my top, right, things turned out, I'm now going to lower myself. Variation number one, place the toes on the ground, let the weight come down, keep the rings close to our body, keep lowering with control, rotate out. That's option number one that really helps you. Placing your feet on the ground is just going to help you slow down even more because, again, the muscle up in and of itself Yes, it's strength, but also it's a lot of false grip, your ability to hold that position and have a smooth transition. Come up to the top. Option number 2, depending on your strength. Come down, transition back, lower all the way down. That is a little more advanced, a lot more advanced, but you can get 2 attempts at transitioning in and out of the bottom position of the muscle up. Like again, we put that shirt on, we keep it close to the body. That's really important here. We don't want to skip over that. Now, from a programming point of view, I would view that as skill work. That should go at the start of your session. You don't have to do that many repetitions, like doing 5 sets of 1 of those negative dips and practicing the transition would be more than enough. Then we would move on to the other section, which would be more of our conditioning work, our strength and development work. We would look at performing things like the dip, a lot of volume with dips so we can have that strength. Again, if you have cranky shoulders, you wouldn't be working on the muscle up in the first place. But dips can be actually really helpful. So the way we're going to look at our dip, you could perform assisted dips, right, where we have our feet on the ground, right? But what we want for our dip is we want full range of motion, coming all the way down, pausing, all the way up to ring turnout. So we have that straight arm position. So again, keeping the elbows back, squeezing those shoulder blades together, and returning back up. That is going to give us a lot of strength, and that carries over into the transition to the top of the rings. So we're going to do that. I would recommend doing 3 sets of 5, eventually working up to 5 sets of 5. For the pulling transition, what you need to really practice is we need to have a powerful pull where we can get our chest to the height of the rings. So one exercise that would be the reverse row sit back. To perform the reverse row sit back, you're going to set up with the rings about hip height. That's a good rule of thumb here. From there, you'll set up directly underneath the rings as if you were going to perform a reverse row. Knees will be at that 90-degree angle, and from here, you would row to the top, pause, rotate, pull the chest towards the rings, sit your butt back, hold, and reverse everything. Now, shown from the back, you'll be able to have a better idea of what that looks like. So again, from underneath the rings, hips up, perform a reverse row, pause, turn the rings, pull the chest towards the rings, sit your butt back, pull down even more, reverse. Now the important thing is you would work up, build volume. So 3 sets of 5, eventually working up to 5 sets of 5 of reverse row sit backs will build a strong, powerful chin up, which is what we need to get close to the rings because that initial pull is going to be so important. The cool thing about this is you can also eventually perform it with a false grip position. So if I get my hands set up in my false grip, I start from a false grip position, perform that row up transition. So now you're working on the transition. Keep those feet where they are. Transition back. Again. So one more time. If I have my false grip, as I practice these reverse row sit backs, eventually I could do reps, pulling myself to that false grip position and transitioning back. Pull myself up, put my shirt on, and transition back. And that's the reverse row sit back for your muscle up. Now, what I usually close out every session with when working on a muscle up would be practicing a dead hang false grip. Now, it doesn't have to be a long hold, right? We're building up our strength. We're strengthening that callus there. It's going to be important. Now, the thing that messes a lot of folks up is they forget how to get that false grip position. Again, find that false grip, pull down. Now, you would think you would leave the rings facing inward, but you actually want to turn the rings out. This turned out position is actually going to help you maintain that false grip. So I'm going to have this, and again, I'm doing the best I can indoors. Don't have access to a high ceiling that I can hang my rings from. Rotate out and come to the bottom of that dead hang position. Hold. Keep rotating out. Hold that position. 3, 2, 1. Place feet on the ground. Come back up. Shake it out. I would work up to 3 sets of about 5 to 10 seconds. We're not trying to toast our forearms here. We're just really trying to develop that false grip position. So one more time, I have that hand, keep that position, rotate out, hang down, hold yourself there. You can even have your toes on the ground. Just make sure that most of the weight is in your arms. Right? You can put more feet down if you need more support. Just hang. Come back up. That is going to be a game changer for that muscle up. So look, we covered a lot today when it comes to the ring muscle up. And if you don't have a solid chin up, I'm surprised you made it this far, but I have a link you can click below to download the ultimate chin up guide to make sure you're getting your first chin up so that a muscle up becomes that much easier. Look, if you found this video helpful, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, you have notifications turned on. You leave a comment below with anything like your biggest takeaway or any other questions you have, and I'm always happy to answer. So without further ado, remember you're one day away from getting back on track and one day away from realizing how fucking amazing you are.